Hi guys, this is Joel Foraker with Guitarists United here at the Winter NAMM 2015, and today I'm at a new booth with a gentleman named Frank, and he's got a new guitar design on the bridge system here that we saw. Of course, we're in the same area of Morgan amps as well, but we saw this bridge system that looked really unique, and so we wanted to come by and talk with him, and he's the innovator of this, right, and quite a few other products from what I'm understanding. Yeah. So Frank, what are they called? What's going on with it?
So what I'm doing here is I have, it's called the Intention Bridge. Every glued-on bridge, every glued-on bridge design, typical, from pre-war up to now, the bridge produces torque. The way the strings are attached, they're pulling this way, and so it's going to torque it up and it's going to pull it that way. So I thought about it and I said, why don't I take the string's energy, the very same tension, 175 pounds of string tension, and instead of trying to fight it with wood and glue and more wood and glue, why don't I harness it? Like, why don't I just use it to do something positive?
I like it.
And so I bring the strings in such a way that it imparts negative torque. So now this whole area is basically torque neutral. I'm still pulling this way with the full 170 pounds of string tension, so I'm still driving the top really hard, but I'm not torquing it. So now all that stuff would mean nothing if the guitar sounded lousy, right?
Now how is it not torquing it?
Because I'm going in underneath and I'm bringing, when the strings are being tugged this way, it's converted into that energy. And so, if you want to think of the bridge plate as the catalyst between that whole area, now you've got this one unit that's vibrating up and down together. So immediately what that does is it brings the whole top into phase, basically, into phase balance. Normally you're splitting the top this way. So when you strike the strings, when this part's up, this part's down, and vice versa, right? So it's almost like a 212 speaker cabinet with one speaker out of phase, right? But, and that's why, like a typical Martin-style guitar, you mic it up, you move it an inch, 2 inches, and all of a sudden it's woofy here, but it's bright here, and it changes like crazy, and that's because there's all this comb filtering and phase cancellation. So when I'm vibrating the whole top in a more phase linear manner, you can mic it anywhere, it projects well, you can be 30 feet away, and it still sounds like the guitar. It doesn't sound like it's a guitar that's 30 feet away.
That's so cool.
So a lot of miking techniques, but also then it brings out the top end. There's a deeper bass, but it's tight. So it's not the kind of bass you have to EQ out. So it's all the stuff you would do when you're recording your typical, traditionally constructed guitar.
Yeah.
You lift the highs a little bit, you compress it a little bit, so there's all these things that happen. It's more sensitive when you pick softly. It's still loud when you play hard. So you can underbuild a guitar that will play nice when you're finger picking and playing softly, but then those overload when you hit it hard. This thing has the full dynamic range in it because everything's under a state of balance.
Is this ebony?
The bridge is ebony.
That's awesome.
The Alpha series is primarily an Italian spruce top, ebony board and bridge, that rose with back and sides.
Man, I tell you, what's up with this right here, buddy?
This one here, this is a fan fret. So a customer, actually several customers by now, but a customer of mine asked for one of these. I'm sure you guys have seen them out there in the world. Ralph Novak was the inventor several years back, but a longer scale on the low strings and a shorter scale on the high strings. So the easy way to explain it is, it's if you're talking about an electric guitar, it's a Gibson scale on the trebles and a Fender scale on the bass and a transition in between. On the acoustic, it drives the top differently. So now I get kind of a Gibson, sort of a hummingbirdish top end, but the low end is still taut and crisp, So I love what it does on this bridge design, to the guitars. And so you'll see some more fan frets from us over the next, several years, really over the next several months.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, they're fun to play. It's a mild fan, so it's 26 to 25. So there's not really a lot of tray. It doesn't take a lot of work to play it. It's pretty easy. You just pick it up, you don't think about it, and you're okay.
Looks gorgeous, buddy. I gotta say, I'm super impressed.
Thank you.
Where are these made at?
I make them in California. I make them in a shop. I have a shop in Ventura.
Ventura?
Yeah. And so that's where they're coming from. It's all, handmade here in the United States.
Awesome. And you're making that hollow body there too?
Yes. This is a full hollow body that also uses the Intention bridge, but it uses it in a different way. So now, instead of imparting negative torque behind the bridge, like instead of pulling down behind the bridge, I actually have a little, you know, whatever, the mechanism that I've made in here actually pushes up under the tune-o-matic. So I was just telling this guy when you came by, like, if you hold a note on this guitar, it'll feed back infinite, like there's a lot of sustain. The top is really alive, like a good hollow body, but it's all driven by the string. So if you stop the strings, it stops. It's not like a hollow body that's just screaming and howling away, because the vibrations at the top are basically tied to and controlled by the vibrations from the string directly. Anything will feed back if you turn your amp up loud enough. But basically this is a full hollow body, no block down the center, super resonant, super loud, but then still has that feedback under control. And harnesses it again, so it's not just controlled like it doesn't feed back, but it's controlled in that if you want to just let that note ring, it'll go on forever.
Huh. What's street on something like this?
This particular one happens to be one that I hand carved myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this one is 6250, but the actual
Fluence?
Price, yes, it has the Fishman Fluence pickups in it.
It's got like it looks like a USB charger back here.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You plug it in and you get a few hundred hours of charge out of it. But it is going into production, so the production models will be somewhere around 3,500. It'll depend on if you have a plain top with a solid color paint versus sunburst and figure tops and things like that. So when this goes into production now, I mean, we're announcing here at NAMM, that it's available. So the production versions will be more affordable.
What's your most popular model?
I thought that I would have a couple of breakouts. It has been extremely consistent across the board. I figured the Dreadnought would be a breakout or something like that.
I'm seeing parlors.
Yeah, I'm selling parlors where people are buying the Dreads, the OMs, the Grand Auditorium. Everybody has their different thing, and so some people have even asked me, like, what's your bridge best on? Like, what's the best way for me to hear what your bridge is doing? And it's like, it's all of the above. On the big bodies like a jumbo, it unlocks all this low end, like tight low end, like a subwoofer. It's like, so I love it on that. On the parlor, it releases all this frequency response that you just never get out of a small body. We've A/B'd against everybody's parlor, right? And they all have some degree of that AM radio sound.
Here's this beautiful parlor. The finish is gorgeous, buddy.
Thank you.
Gorgeous guitars.
Yeah, so because of that, I've found that people have, there's not been one breakout that people have gravitated towards. I'm selling a really large amount of all the different sizes.
That's awesome. What does the average price say? Are they all solid wood or just solid tops?
No, it's all solid wood.
Good standards,
all made here in the United States. Yeah, so it's all hand built, and it's a hand fit dovetail neck joint. So none of this mortise and tenon bolt neck things like that, which I can get away with because a lot of times people say, well, why don't you bolt that neck on so that later on in life I can make a nice adjustment? Well, I already have some stress put into the neck area, so over time my guitar's necks are not going to pull into the body, and the only other reason you need a neck reset as time goes by is because of the bridge cave, and I don't have that either. So
makes sense. I see that a lot.
Right, so I can get the sound that we all want out of a hand-fit dovetail neck joint, and I don't have to feel nervous that I've just given somebody a guitar that's going to need a neck reset in 15 or 20 years.
I don't think people are going to expect a neck reset on these type of guitars anyways. Not with their price point, their fit and finish that I'm seeing, the ingenuity. They're not going to expect that. Like you said, unless they abuse this guitar, they're not going to do that.
Right.
But we see it on high-end guitars
where
you actually do need a neck reset, and that top's flat as a button.
Right.
Flat. So a lot of companies aren't paying attention.
That's right.
But those are days of the past. Today we have a lot more precision, a lot more ingenuity to our access.
That's right. How come nothing against like the bolt neck designs, right?
Nothing.
When somebody does that and engineers it into the guitar, they've done that so that the guitar as a whole.
They've perfected it.
Correct. So I don't mean there's nothing negative about it, but
it is easy to adjust.
But now it's my chance to make a guitar, and I'm going to put a hand-fit dovetail neck joint on it.
I love it.
Because I can.
Very traditional, very strong.
Yeah.
And like you said, the resonance is there with the dovetail.
It is.
How can people get a hold of you?
So you can go to falboguitars.com.
How do you spell it?
Falbo, Falbo. Falboguitars.com, and I'm actually will be distributed with this group right here that you guys have seen, and Morgan's behind me here.
Yeah, Morgan's is sick.
So yeah, they are. So it's going to be quite simple to get a hold of a Falbo as time goes by. So I've had the company for a couple of years, and it's been a lot of direct sales and things like that. And now I'm growing to the point where I had to expand and open a shop. And
I love it. This is so cool. Black
going.
top with the natural rosewood back and sides.
It's an open pour back. The top is a stain, so it's not painted black. If you get it under light, you can still see the grains of the spruce, which is kind of neat. I just didn't want to paint it.
Beautiful.
I didn't want to paint. So someone had said, make it black. Actually, Henry Kaiser was the first guy that said, I want a black top. He goes, yeah, paint it. I'm like, I don't want to paint it. Let me try something else. And so we stained it black.
I like it.
And it looks really good, yeah.
Anything else new, or any kind of woods that you're seeing that you might like to use in the future?
Because I'm in control of what we're doing now, then you're going to see some other woods from us. Maybe not stock, you'll have the models that are available, but people can contact us, and and I'm willing to work with almost anything because I'm happy to design the guitar. I mean, I have a guitar I did with a lacewood top. Who's putting lacewood on the top? You can't do that.
Laminated tops is what I've seen.
Right. So solid lacewood top. Why? Because I'm not exerting the pressure. It happened to be for a customer who said, I wanted you to do it because I know you can do it.
Awesome.
So I'm not saying that. I would have chosen it, as a flagship model,
sure,
to put on the website.
Not common.
But it absolutely works.
Cool. How did it sound?
It sounds great. I mean, it sounds like it's supposed to sound. So the lacewood top, it's a perforated top. The soft pulp sections are really like clay, and then the hard sections, the granular sections, those are more stiff. So it's like taking a piece of mahogany and drilling a bunch of holes in it and plugging it with a wood filler.
Ovation.
Yeah. So there's a 5th fret guitar back here.
What is this called again?
That's a quint. It's like a 5th fret. It's like if you capoed at the 5th fret. So this will be a fun one. You can make, there's been people who've done the shorter scaled, guitars. So there's nothing groundbreaker about it aside from the bridge. So again, when you make a small body like this, but you put that bridge on it, and then lightened up the bracing. I mean, I have about 30% less bracing. There's no braces behind the bridge at all.
How long do you estimate your guitars are going to last?
Well, they should last as long as any guitar that anybody else has ever made. I say that, we've had discussions about hide glue in the past and things like that. The glues that are used to make these guitars are very permanent, and the forces that are being exerted on the guitar are being done so in an appropriate manner. So, it's like saying, how long could I stand something up on its end? Well, if gravity is working in your favor and there's nothing blowing it over, it's going to stay up there forever, or until the earth erodes in such a way that it wants to fall down.
Or like we're in California where we got earthquakes.
That's correct, yeah. So it's different if you have a torqued bridge, like a traditional glued-on style bridge, where it's being bent. Then the question is, well, at what date and time is it going to give? And it has to give. So in this case, like I said, I don't have those forces being exerted, but I am using the full 175 pounds of string tension to drive the audio, to drive the tone.
Love it, guys. I'm seeing Bone Hardware. I'm seeing all solid wood guitars made here in the USA.
Yep.
And the guy seems really knowledgeable. He's telling me what you were on the Fishman Fluence.
Yeah, those Fishman Fluence pickups are in this hollow body. And I've developed other pickups in the past, EP rails and things like that. And so when this technology came along, I was like, I have to do this. This has to happen. And so I talked to Larry Fishman. I said, look, let's do it.
Awesome.
And he was absolutely on board. He's another innovator. He's happy to be to be on the cutting edge of these things. And so it was great. And they're great. They're cutting edge pickups. They can do things that a wound pickup cannot do.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You can't get there from here, right?
We did a video with Greg in the summer NAMM, and I'll put it right here. And it's showing the single coil pickups. Is basically what it is, the Fluence. But it was like the 54 and what was the other one? It was the Texas Specials, I think. The 54 is the Texas Specials and one kit.
The two voices are like real straight up vintage 54 type of sound, and then like a Texas Hot sound, just goosed up. But you can do that Texas Hot sound without losing the top end also. because it's all the frequency context is there. So that's
Awesome.
it's a really cool design.
Well, Frank, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right.
I'll put it away for you.
All right, thanks.